Welcome to the Cashflow Project podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to the Cashflow Project podcast. I'm your host, Steve Fieros with Tri-City Equity Group. Today, excited, I've got Scott Royal Smith on the show. So Scott is a founding attorney at Royal Legal Solutions. They're a boutique law firm focused on protecting clients' real estate assets throughout the United States and Canada. I'm excited to talk to Scott because I know he's as an avid investor himself. He's invested in deals like that we do typically with commercial multifamily syndications, residential, commercial. He's got experience on that side. And their firm is dedicated towards helping clients preserve their wealth and really build their wealth with the right legal and asset protection in place. Scott, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, thanks for jumping on with me, and we'd love to provide lots of value to our guests. And I know that's something you can do. So, well, for those of our listeners who are not familiar with you, your company, kind of your background, give us a little bit of your kind of history. How did you get started in real estate? How did you get started in kind of the legal side? Did you come from a family of attorneys and people dealing on that side, or give us your...
Yeah, I come from a family of educators. So I grew up pushing lawnmowers in Houston, Texas, and saving money growing up. And I didn't really know what I was saving the money for, but I just knew it was important to make money and to save it. My mom is a Montessori teacher, and so is my sister. And I ended up going to law school at some point, and I had some money saved. And there was a building in a business, a transmission auto repair business, that came available for $10,000 in back taxes. I thought, worst case scenario, we can flip this baby, make a quick $5K, and call it good. But what we did instead was rehab the business and rehab the building. And then we were able to pay off our law school with that deal. And that's when I got hooked on real estate investing. And as I worked as an attorney suing insurance companies, turns out insurance companies are great at collecting premiums and even better at denying coverage, especially when things get expensive. That investing in real estate at the same time as working as an attorney led me to be able to become financially free through my real estate investing. And then I was doing stuff like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and traveling around the world and all of those things. But then I had a friend of mine who got sued for $3 million. He lost $3 million from a single lawsuit, and he was very well insured. He did all the big umbrella insurance stuff. And at that point, he was telling me, don't worry about doing all these LLC structures and all those other things. And I was like, I'm going to take another look at this because I'm really enjoying the life I'm at right now. And I want to make sure that I don't have any whoopsies that drag me back in now that I'm out of the game, so to speak. And that's when I started getting really serious about asset protection and estate planning and all my tax strategy and my deal pipeline and all these things to really make sure that my wealth was really durable. Because it wasn't enough just to be free. I wanted to make it be free and durable. And then my company is just an extension of other people that asked me to help them be able to have the kind of managed wealth that I have for myself, to live the life that I like to live. And it's beautiful. We've helped over 2,000 clients over the last 12 years. To be able to get to this place usually takes about 6 weeks for somebody to come on the street to say, cool, let's build everything for you and get it all running.
Oh, that's awesome. And now I know you're not still in Texas though, right? Or did you have an office or something there? Or...
Yeah, we have offices in Texas. I still have a place in Austin, currently in my home in southern Utah. It's great mountain biking weather this time of year. We'll probably be in Colorado this winter out in Ouray to do some ice climbing. So if anybody's around that way, give me a shout, shoot me an email. But this is what life is supposed to be for me. Life is, in my vision, life is supposed to be a road trip. All this money and stuff is just gas to put in the car. And all these people are so worried about how much gas can I get. And I'm like, no, the point's supposed to be the road trip, baby. You just got to make sure to have enough money for gas.
I love that. Actually, I feel like that's the first time I've heard that. It makes perfect sense. But I love that kind of analogy that the money, it's just the fuel, right? It's just the gas to kind of have you on your journey. I love that perspective. And just to kind of go over a couple of things there, I even like the idea of your durable wealth because I network a ton. I mean, I go to a lot of conferences surrounded by real estate investors of every size and every facet. I mean, this is the beauty of real estate. There's a million and one different ways to make money in real estate. But you kind of nailed it there with the example of your friend, where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm doing well. And then you get sued, you have a lawsuit or something happens, unexpected, of course, that wipes you out. So having durable wealth is absolutely vital. Like you'll hit a certain point, of course, where it's like, well, look, it's just preservation of wealth. Like I've worked really hard to build a portfolio and our business operations or whatever it is. And to have it kind of taken away in one fell swoop can be incredibly difficult to deal with. So that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that concept.
Right? Number one rule in the game is don't lose money. You want to have insurance. You want to have umbrella policies. You want to compartmentalize every asset that you possibly can using like LLC structures, or even better, a series LLC structures if you're like in the 1 to 4 unit space, and get these kind of infinitely expandable companies for free. You got to make sure the family's taken care of. So you got to have the estate planning place put in there. Got to make sure the government's not taking too much money. That's where you got all your tax strategy. And then you got to have rock solid investments that help you with your tax benefits. And if you can put all that stuff together, it took me about 1 year to 2 years full time to be able to figure out how to put it all together, 5 years to really master it. And anybody can master it. It's just going to probably take you about 5 years to find all the right people, figure out how the puzzle pieces have to come together. And this is what I always advise people. It says like, you can tell who is the right people to follow in life if they have whatever it is that you're looking for. And if you just do exactly what they tell you, these people in life that have it, whatever it is that you're looking for, you'll greatly accelerate your journey without all the pain, right? And then if you want to get creative, but first master the things of the people that actually have whatever it is that you're looking for. And you'll be way better off than everybody else. But the problem is most people can't do that. I don't know why.
You're absolutely right. Like success leaves clues. So of course you see people that are doing well and they're doing the things that you want. Like some people are listening to you talk about, well, I live here and yeah, of course I've got offices in these different states and you get to travel and this kind of stuff. And they're like, I want to do that. Okay, well, great. How about you have a conversation with Scott? Hey, what did you do? How did you get there? And that's usually something simple. I feel like probably for a lot of people, it's like, well, but that's been on my part that I've been doing something wrong. And so I've been wrong. And so they don't want to ask the question, well, hey, how can I do something? What are you doing? Because what I'm doing is not working. So it's like, it's almost kind of like this pride element of like, well, I don't want to say that I'm wrong. And okay, well, then you're going to be limiting the options and the potential that you have for your future to do better things. Like this is the power of networking. This is the power of surrounding yourself with people who have the things that you want or have achieved certain levels of success. Okay, great. What are you guys doing? I want to go where you're going or where you've been potentially. So even if just somebody just a few steps down the road can be massively beneficial to your business, your life. So yeah, no, I love that. And no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I think all it takes is like, that ambition to like want to learn. Like for anybody in my like stuff, there's a lot of people are like in my world and maybe in your world too, Steve, is like, they're always like, well, I really want a mentor. And I'm like, well, why would a mentor want to work with you? Like to a mentor, right? They very likely, if they've had any appreciable success in life, but they've really come to a place is I actually have enough money. What I'm actually targeting now is a place to have the kind of life experience that I'm looking for. And then there's this sliver inside of the life experience that they're looking for called, it's really fun to work with people that are really after it. Because I used to be really after it. And it's kind of fun to feel the energy of somebody else and is really coming after it and really hungry for it and really wants whatever it is that I had to like really go drive through the like trenches for and to see if they can do it. It's kind of exciting. And I think that's one of the reasons and that's why when it comes to like these types of approaches where you're wanting to be able to get to that next level in life, the number one thing I always ask people and that is like, how bad do you really want it? If you really want it, like all the way down to like your boots, like I want to be free. I want something that's a really different life experience. Mm-hmm. The best thing that you can do is to start studying because if we created like a whole vault that has like 11 ebooks, hundreds of hours of videos. It's totally free. Right. And when people come to me and I can tell that they've really studied all of the materials that I've already put out, those are people that ask me questions that are good questions. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. You've really thought about this. You're right. Now that this is what you really actually need to be able to go there. And then that's interesting. And that's a relationship that I'll start to care about. Right. And that's how you're able to be able to recruit mentors is to put in the time to get all of the education, to have really good and interesting questions that they'll identify whenever you ask it to them, that's actually a really good question because they've already had to work through that. And that's how you can prove to them that you're somebody that's worth their time. And also you'll be able to see what is the quality of information from the person that you're trying to get to mentor you, like in that moment. And then like the game is actually really simple because the mentor will just open up and show you like, here's exactly how it all works. And all you have to do is just copy what I did, like copy my homework. And how much easier in school is it if you could just copy somebody's homework?
Yeah, except you got in trouble for it in school, but in real life, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. Just copy the homework.
Right.
They taught us how to do all the wrong things in school, doing our own work. When really, like, if they just taught us how to copy really well, we'd all be better off.
We'd be better solving the problem together. Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And you mentioned something there too, like the time component, because once you have financial freedom, I mean, really, you're in a position to buy back your time. And successful people, once they've kind of hit that element, as you mentioned, well, it's difficult. Hey, I want to mentor. Okay, you're exactly right. Where it's like, well, why should I give you my time? I worked really hard to get my time back. And now you who haven't done the homework, haven't done any effort yet, now you're asking for a piece of that time. And I can't ever get those minutes back. So it better be worth it. So yeah, guy's absolutely right when he's talking about, hey, are you doing something? What are you doing already? Like, are you in motion? Because if not, there's really no excuse today with YouTube, the amount of book, I mean, Audible. I mean, there's so much available to us, like education wise. So if you want to learn something about anything, really, I mean, you got no excuse. You can hop on, pick up a book, you can audiobook, you go to the library. I mean, you don't have to pay for any of this stuff. The information is there, but you have to start. We can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. And so if you want to make improvements, that's up to you. That's up to you. Make a choice, start doing some research, and then you can get the ball rolling and then approach a Scott or somebody else. I mean, go to him for legal advice, of course, but if you're looking for some kind of a coaching and mentor, that kind of stuff, like, you want to improve, like, don't just show up and you're not just going to do it for me. Right. So, but yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. Is there anything like in your investing journey, let's say, like, you obviously achieve financial freedom, like, sounds like we're pretty young. I mean, you're a young guy. Any particular realm of real estate? I know you have a broad experience having invested yourself, which I really like. And I feel like that's a big component to, hey, I want tax and legal advice. Okay. Well, I'll be honest with you. Like, as an investor myself, who is invested and I had multiple different strategies, I feel much more confident going with somebody who has been an investor, has been in my shoes, has an understanding of what they're actually protecting against. Like this, I definitely want somebody who's competent, of course, in the legal aspects and the legal components, but it's something different. I think it's next level for me to have somebody who's actually invested into property themselves. Did you find any particular strategies, or are you're still currently investing? It sounds like.
Always. You actually never stop investing, because the reality of the thing is that you always need to be keeping to make investments to be able to offset taxes that come through. Right. So like net worth turns into like a snowball, but it's almost like a snowball by accident because of taxation. Right. Yep. So it's really like one big game that the government plays to be able to keep our money invested inside of assets to prop up the economy. Right. And at the very end of it, which is quite fascinating, actually, like how this whole system gets like designed. But the nuts and bolts in the days, I actually started in single family homes. All right. And in working inside of single family homes was a great place to start. It was like a lot of wholesaling at that point. Right. Because I could generate cash and then at the same time be able to pick up the 9s and 10s, like those little crown jewel properties that I'd find. Like, cool, I'm going to stick that in my portfolio, cash flow that baby. And at that point in my life, like early on, I didn't have huge net worth, like, or cash flow goals. Like, it was really apparent to me really early on in life that life actually didn't get that much better after a certain income level. Things just got like nicer, but it didn't get any better. And I was never going to be any younger to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I was never going to be younger on the beaches of Mallorca. Right. And I was like, that stuff is actually super fun when you're young. It ain't that fun to do when you're 55. Like, it ain't same experience, you know? So I was like, all right, cool. So that's what I was going for. And okay, that's where I was at the time. But then as I had some success doing that, right, I started to help other people with everything that they needed with their asset protection and estate planning and all the tax strategy and all the things that I'd spent those years figuring out on my own. And that's where it just kind of naturally broadened, because different people I'd help would have different assets than I wasn't really accustomed to, like different types of land deals or like apartment syndications at one point were new for me, right? Or self-storage units or trailer parks or whatever the case may be, right? But as I helped people that were inside of those different asset classes is where my comfortability with investing in different types of deals that were from those deal streams and how all of the other back-end sophistication around all of the tax and legal needed to work for them kind of all naturally broadened. So, I mean, now I don't really touch a whole lot. I have a staff of about 30 people. They're basically doing everything for me because I really heavily prioritize just what's going to be interesting for me. If there's really a nuanced issue that comes up, I'll still dive into it from like a tax and legal perspective. But what I really love is enjoying life and then helping inspire other people to live better lives and really come into an alignment with how really easy it can actually be to accelerate passive financial freedom if they find people that have great assets like you, Steve, and then they can find people that are like me. They're like, hey, I've walked the wealth journey. I know how that works inside of real estate. And I know how to take that and make it integrate with like a lifestyle. And here's the full system, start to finish, systems, processes, meeting schedules, full teams of CPAs, MBAs, attorneys, paralegals, everything that's there. And at a price that anybody that's making over $150,000 a year can afford, and make enough money in back taxes and tax benefits to help pay for everything. And that's what I get off on, is like how many people can get free. It's really hard to get free, but I think it's pretty cool. What you're doing with the investments is absolutely essential to it. And I'd recommend for everybody, if you were just like I was and doing single family homes, like you will do better if you can learn how to do syndications and learn how to invest in syndications than you'll ever do buying little tiny assets on your own.
Yeah. And just from an efficiency standpoint, you start to see why, oh, okay, this is why bigger investors will go into commercial. Like it's just the levers that you can pull versus just, okay, I'll buy a single family house one at a time kind of deal. I'll get that frequently. It's like, you get an investor that's, oh, I've got 50 single family house, but I could never do commercial like you guys. I couldn't do apartment buildings or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you're doing a lot of work having 50 single family houses.
Yeah, right. It's like that. It's like the technology of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's really the same kind of thing. I think people get afraid to learn. You get afraid to learn, and you get really comfortable with the things that you always did. But it's like, if you're not embracing the pain of learning, and what you're embracing is the pain of really hard work for forever. There is no way out of the pain. You got to pick a pain. The question is, which pain are you going to pick?
I like that. It's like, pick your path. And this is the nice thing, is that it's actually empowering. It's not something to be afraid of, but it's like, hey, look, it's empowering, because then I get to choose the path. And I'm probably aging myself here, but as a kid, I would read the Choose Your Own Adventure books, if anybody's like familiar with those. It's like, oh, okay, turn to page 9. If you want to do this, turn to this page. But we get to do that as individuals. Like, you're not stuck. For all of our listeners, you're not stuck. Okay, man, I've got to do this job for the next 30 years. Like, even just saying it, you'll hear them say it like that. You're already defeated. And it's like, that's it. If you don't enjoy it, it's going to be a grind. And you do that grind for the next 30 years, or you choose to like bust your tail for the next shorter season. You can have tremendous amounts of success, make a lot more progress, as long as it's fit for place to your skill sets, place to your strengths, and it's something that you're going to enjoy doing. But you're going to have to put in the work. There's no shortcutting that process.
Yeah, there's no shortcutting the work for sure. But you can get on guaranteed paths. I think a lot of people like they stay inside of like the jobs longer than they really want to, or they only stay inside the asset classes longer than they really want to, because they feel like there's risk. Like there's a risk to the change, you know? And that's why I love how you reframe that to say it's like, they're really just different paths. I'm with you, man. Like that risk is a sense of like, I can feel it in my chest. It's like a type of suffering. It's a type of pain. And I'm like, dang, this feels scary to go and do something that's like, it's different. And like, what if it doesn't work out? What is that going to be? You know? And I think for me, it's just coming into a place where you get to be able to say, it's like, if I'm not stoked on the way that my life is going right now, then why am I fighting so hard to keep it? You know? Then who cares? If you really don't like the way your life is going right now, then who cares? Because whatever life is going to result because you did something different, what's your worst case scenario? You don't like that one? Well, dude, you're in the same freaking boat.
Right. Yeah. I was speaking at a conference recently, and I was telling the audience, gosh, you should look at your next 5, 10 years and be very excited. Like if you can't look at your next 5 to 10 years and be like super stoked as to what's going to happen, because you can look at your last 5 and say, man, I look at the progress that I've made and look at the trajectory that your life is going. You need to really sit down and reevaluate what it is that you're doing, because there's so much that can happen. I mean, we definitely underestimate what can be done in 5 to 10 year period, but you have to start. You just have to make that decision to want to start. And I think that's the challenge for most people. You either haven't gone through enough pain, or they don't see that the effort, that hard work is going to be worth it. And so this is where, like I said, it comes hanging out with people like Scott and other people who have achieved that. Like, you need to do it, because that's going to level up your game. That's going to level up your realm of what's possible. Because most people don't think it's possible. And if you don't think, your actions are only ever going to follow your beliefs. So if you don't believe it's possible for you, guess what? It'll never be. So,
can I share with you a quick story, Steve, that I had with a recently?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was sitting here, I was just like at a local grabbing breakfast. I think it was like we're at the Black Bear Diner. If you guys live in Mountain Town, there's always a Black Bear Diner.
Yep. Always.
And this waitress, she's like, hey man, what do you do? Like, you seem like you're just totally relaxed. Obviously, like smart guy. Tell me, like, what did you do? What did you do to like make it to be here, having breakfast here on this Tuesday? Do you know anything? And I was like, well, let me ask you this. I was like, are you aware of any like opportunities that are going to change your life right now? You telling me you want your life to change? Are you aware of any opportunities that are going to change your life? The financial aspect of your family. I'm not aware of those opportunities. Okay. How much time are you spending per week looking for those opportunities? I'm going to spend 0. What do you think the impact is on your family if you go back to them and you say, hey, I'm not aware of any opportunities. I'm not spending any time looking for opportunities that are going to be able to change the future of our family here. And it's like, wow, it's really heavy, man. So yeah, but imagine how amazing it would feel if you said, I'm not aware of any opportunities right now, but I'm busting my tail. I'm looking, I'm talking to people, and I'm going to groups, and I'm reading books, and I'm spending 5 hours a week, every week, to be able to search for those opportunities and be able to see where they're at because I am dedicated to a different future. And imagine how empowering that feels. That you're now in control of what's going on because you're putting in the work. And all you have to do is just keep putting in the work, and then eventually the opportunity is going to arise. And the only reason I know that is because every single smart person that I've ever talked to has told me that that's the way that it actually happens. It's preparedness. That is the key element. It's not that you can ever control when opportunity arises, but you can control the preparedness. And that's all you have to do is actually control the preparedness. And so it's just one of these like beautiful, organic kind of conversations that happen with people all the time. And I actually don't know, what she did like after that, but I look forward to not seeing her again in that Blackberry Diner a year from now. She'll have taken that advice to heart and done the work, done the study, and found that opportunity.
Yep. No, absolutely. And it's available to each and every one of us. So if you guys aren't where you want to be just yet, just know that opportunity, like you live in the best place in the world at the best time to honestly make a change in the trajectory of not only your life, but as somebody who's a family man, I've got kids. I think about my kids, what's going to happen for them. And I want to be able to set them up for success and have impact generations from now. So to think beyond just what's right in front of me next week and next month, that kind of deal, the opportunity is there for you to do that. So if you're not there yet, guys, make sure that you're taking action, that you're diving in, getting educated. You're listening to this podcast now today in our conversation with Scott. So you're already on the right path. Well, Scott, this is the time in our show where we kind of transition into what we call our fire round. Is that something you're game for? Is a little bit more rapid fire questions? All right. He's ready to go. All right. I kind of laugh about the Blackberry because you're absolutely right. Every mountain town has Blackberry cake. I've eaten some good ones too.
Yeah. All right.
All right. First question. What is the best book that you recommend other than the Real Estate Bible, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? What's the best book recommendation that you've got?
The most fundamental book that changed my life was a book called Living Untethered by Michael Singer, who is actually like a guy that really focused in on being able to control your mind and your emotions and a different approach to life. And he built $1 billion software company and a multi-billion-dollar software company in the process. And that's the one book that I read that like took me up a level on everything in my life all at the same time. So super lever, the Living Untethered by Michael Singer.
Living Untethered. All right. Awesome. See, this kind of stuff, guys, that's as simple as if you're in the car on the way to work every day and you pop an audiobook in, turn the radio off, turn the TV off. I don't have a TV. This is always one of the recommendations I give to everybody I meet. Get rid of your TV. Don't need it. You don't need distraction. Like focus on doing what you want to do. Focus on learning what you need to learn until you get to where you need to be. All right. Next question. What would you consider your superpower is?
Yeah, it's really just holding space for people. It's like, I'm genuinely curious about what's going on with them, and that no matter what they tell me, I'm going to love and care for them anyway, just because they are who they are. And I think people like can feel that piece, and it like lets me be able to make really genuine, authentic relationships that I care about, and gives people a space to be able to share with me things they might not otherwise share.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually get that from you too. So even this our time here on Zoom, I think some of you guys just listen on audio. You can probably get it in Scott's voice there too, but just seeing him, I absolutely believe that. And I love that. That's actually really great. All right. Next question. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned over your career thus far?
Get started and just do best practices and don't worry about the rest.
Yeah. Love it. Be committed to the process. That's the whole thing. Just get.
All you got to do is best practices. If you do best practices, you'll get so good at what you're doing. And by the time you get done implementing all the best practices, you'll say like, oh, now I can change things. And then you'll say, do I want to change anything? And be like, hell no, this is working great. I'm not going to.
Yeah. No, I love it. All right. And for the busy working professional who is trying to work towards financial freedom, what advice would you have for them?
Breathe, relax, just relax. Everything is actually fine, just the way it is right now in your life, right? All you have to do is relax and just find what is the 1 to 3 things that I need to do today. And if you can just do 1 to 3 things and make sure those 1 to 3 things are actually important things, that will actually move your life forward, that's enough. Otherwise, just relax. Life is actually okay.
Very good. No, I love that. I love that. Well, Scott, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, if they want to find out about the vault and all the education that you've put together, what's the best way for them to reach out to you and find out a little bit more about you and your team and what you guys have to offer?
Yeah, so I got hundreds of hours of free video training on asset protection, estate planning, tax strategy, investing strategy, and portfolio strategy, everything there inside of the royallegalsolutions.com website and the vault that's on the right-hand corner. If you want to find out how to build a wealth building company and what all needs to go into that in terms of the teams, the systems, the processes, the approaches, what are the most common things we recommend for different types of investors, that's actually all in a 30-minute video that's on the homepage of our website. And then there's also a place there to be able to schedule directly in with a paralegal team to be able to have a discovery call to say, am I qualified to be able to work with your company as somebody that we can really help be able to move the dial for? Our claim to fame is that we're so good on tax that the tax savings will actually pay for everything from start to finish that we do, right? So the government's going to pay for it for you. After we get done, we're going to be able to figure that out on the front end. And this way, I hope that everybody feels comfortable because we have tons of free education. You can meet all of the community of existing investors that we have. You can get educated on everything you need to know about how wealth building companies work, the one that we would build for you or the one that we recommend that you build for yourself if you're not going to leverage through a company like ours, and that you meet directly members of the team to be able to find out if we're the right fit for you on a energetic and personal and relational level, and vice versa. That we don't want to work with you if we're not somebody that we can really fundamentally move the ball for. So just go to royallegalsolutions.com and just take some action. A little bit of action most days is typically enough, but you just got to start taking action now.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on with us today. I really enjoyed our conversation. You're reminding me to even just breathe and relax. And well, it's still early for me, so I appreciate that. But yeah, no, we'd love to have you back on in the future. Guys, make sure that you're going out and checking out Scott over at Royal Legal Solutions, see what them and their team can do for you guys. But that's going to be it for today. Scott, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Aloha. Great conversation with Scott from Royal Legal Solutions. Awesome conversation. It's rare to have a conversation with somebody who you think is genuinely interested in seeing you just having the best success that you can possibly have. Scott had some awesome advice. Simple, it's not complicated advice, but it does take you taking some action, making a decision that, hey, how can I propel my life forward here? What can I do? 1 to 2 to 3, maybe simple things that are going to propel me forward. I have not only for me to have a better life, but my family. What kind of impact can I have in my community? If you're somebody who, likes to give back, just breathe, just relax. You don't have to get so stressed out about all of what we see in the news today, the economy and all that kind of stuff. Scary times, but you can control what you can control. And that's a great way to be able to set yourself up for future success. We had a great book recommendation too, Living Untethered by Michael Singer. That's definitely something I'm going to check out. I have not dug into that book before, but excited to check it out. Make sure that you guys are going and looking at their site. I know you just got a ton of content that they provide for everyone they have their vault over their site. So we'll make sure that we leave the website down below in the show notes for you guys. Obviously, if you guys are local here, you want to connect with us, you want to meet us in person, come to one of our meetups, Honolulu Multifamily and more. We have them every month. Beautiful venue, beautiful location, lots of great people that come out. It's an awesome time to meet some people, other investors who are either very well versed or are looking just to get started. So make sure that you're making plans to make out to our next event. So you can find us on Facebook, find us on meetup.com, Honolulu Multifamily and more. Obviously, if you guys are finding value in the podcast, we'd love a review from you guys, a 5-star review. If you're finding value in the show, you know what? And if you're not, if you've got issues with some of the people that we're having on or some of what we're talking about, if you want to leave us a 1-star too, that's fine, but leave us a reason as to why and how we can improve the show and how we can get better. All right, guys. Well, we're also going to be having the the Hawaii Millionaire Mindset Conference. That is happening again. That's going to be the 3rd conference that our group will be having. So that's going to be happening next year. So make sure that you're checking that out. We'll leave a link for that down in the show below as well. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Go out, take some action, plan for a better life, make a decision today to be better, to do something more for you and yourself and your family. But all right, guys, we're going to sign off. We'll talk to you soon. Aloha.